Hello, you are listening to Voices from the Crow's Nest, and this is a brief introduction as to what to expect here. I've been around the internet since the days of 14K modems, of Usenet newsgroups, pre-World Wide Web. I have blogged, personally and anonymously. I have shared essays. I have posted countless thousands of photographs, crafted reams of content in exchange for cold hard cash. But one thing I have never done is share my voice like this. In November 2025, it will be 6 years since I started regularly sharing a letter on Substack. I prefer the term letter rather than newsletter. The latter feels impersonal and, well, a bit too newsy. At the time I started the letter, I was living in northern Thailand and about to move to rural central Portugal. The letter was a way to stay in touch with friends and family, little more. It was run in tangent with a couple of websites I owned, one focused on slow and ethical travel, the other a personal space, mostly dedicated to my fiction and deep thinking on diverse subjects. Over the years that changed. I began to incorporate more of my fiction into the letter, sharing updates on writing, on publishing, and offers and book deals, and eventually I began to serialize my work, posting a chapter a week. As Substack grew in popularity and others found my letter, my list of subscribers began to grow and expand. I posted essays and ideas about our ancestral shared skills, those often now called bushcraft. I sent out photos of doors from my rather vast collection, accompanied by some thoughts they inspired and a snippet of short fiction or even a poem. Later, this evolved into a series about other liminal spaces, the coast, the underworld. For the past 2 years on Substack Notes, which is their shorter form platform in some ways mirroring what used to be good about social media, I have been sharing a day-by-day account of the first time I spent months living alone in the woods, gathering my water, fuel, food, and building a shelter to stay in until winter. I would collate these notes and send out a weekly letter, accompanied by extra photographs and words. This year, I had intended to share that series elsewhere, perhaps on Medium, but after discussion with others, I realized Substack has grown exponentially in the last 12 months, as has my subscriber list, despite posting much more rarely this year. It made sense to share once more, setting aside a different section which people can choose to subscribe to if they are already subscribed, so as not to send them letters they may have already received. I wondered how I could do things a little differently this year. What could I do that would enable extra value for those who perhaps already knew the story? Eventually, I decided it would be sensible to record a voiceover for each weekly letter, a feature which is available on my letter already, but only via one of the built-in robot voices. And those voices do not always get it right. Better, then, to take a wee bit of time to record my own version. As I began this process, I realized it made sense to then share those voiceovers elsewhere as a podcast. I was already recording the words after all, so why not take a few extra moments to send it to potential other listeners who in turn might become readers? And that is why I'm recording this and hopefully why you are listening. I shall be sharing weekly podcasts, each containing a week of that time I lived in the woods. If you want to read each piece as I post them on Substack Notes, do by all means follow or subscribe over there too. I do not only share this real-life adventure, I also share other essays and thoughts, and I shall be attempting to record my voice for these too, sharing it here wherever here is, wherever you are listening. As such, it is difficult to niche down, how I hate that phrase, difficult to tell you what to expect. There will be talk of ancestral skills of bushcraft, discussion of hope when hope is hard to find, thoughts about our place in this world of ours, about prehistory and history. I studied archaeology and have never lost my love of the subject. And, above all perhaps, expect lots of thoughts and observations about nature. Nature to me is everything, literally and metaphorically. It underpins much of my writing and, therefore, my speaking too. Briefly, as a sort of background to who I am at this point in time, I was born in Lincolnshire, England, before moving to the far northern islands of Orkney, off the north coast of Scotland when I was a child. I lived there until I was an adult, then moved away for university, although Stromness still feels the closest to my hometown, despite not living in Orkney for decades. I had adventures, I made mistakes. I lived. Eventually, after many years, I returned to Scotland, where I stayed until I set myself the deadline of my 40th birthday to head out and see more of this wonderful world of ours. A deadline I hit successfully, watching the dawn below a wingtip on a red-eye flight as I passed over the jungles of Burma. After leaving Scotland, I have not lived in an English-speaking country, and I am currently based in the French Alps, in a little village below a mountain, surrounded by forests through which the wolves run, below a sky dotted with eagles, and above a river in which the fish are once again beginning to leap. I live here with my wife, Aurelie, who I met in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and our daughter, Elsa. I do hope you will find something of interest here. If you enjoy my words, please have a look at my letter too. You might also enjoy the photography I share there. And I apologize if you keep hearing the creaky chair in the background. I never noticed just how much noise it makes until I began recording my voice. Thanks for joining me.